Hello, growers. Looking to turn your homestead into a profitable business? Or are you a farmer looking to boost your sales? Check out my book, Sell Everything You Grow. This book is the ultimate guide to choosing the right farm business model that fits your farm, time, and location. Discover which model has the highest profit margins and why diversification is so important. Whether you're selling apples, vegetables, or microgreens, Sell Everything You Grow will help you find your first market or expand into new ones. Get Sell Everything You Grow on Amazon and start selling more today.
To kind of bounce back to sort of your market and your customers, I'm really curious what sort of the reception is to maybe like crop varieties that are slightly off center, or they're, maybe it's a new offering that you have that's, a little different, but just like, man, I've been seeing these guys in the States growing this, or such and such is growing this. And I think we would be great and it's really delicious. Have you experimented with bringing some kind of non-staple, non-traditional produce options to market? And if so, what's the reception been like with those?
Yeah, so we'll sell bits and pieces of them. So like I know that there's maybe six people that come to that market that will buy fennel, like bulk
Mhm.
fennel. So I know what to sow, like same with bok choy. There's people that will buy like radicchio and chicories and stuff like that. It's a very small amount of people, and I'll always sow slightly more than I think I need, but it's small amounts of that stuff. Same with salad turnips. Like we'll probably only sell 6 bunches a week of
Mhm.
of things like salad turnips, which is a real pity because they grow so well here. It's
Oh man,
unbelievable,
yeah.
Like, and even trying to get like, we send samples around to some restaurants and stuff. And they're like, oh yeah, they're great, but they just they don't really, you know, they don't really use them. So they're a hard sell, So but yeah, we'll constantly do that. So I like to be doing lots of different things, and I don't like to get stuck on one thing. Um, so it's really important for me to try different things. Like we're going to try and grow baby ginger here next year. We're going to put in two hotbeds, fill it up with horse manure, soil on top, and then try and create like a really humid environment with extra plastic and stuff, just to give it a go. Because if I'm not trying new things, I'll lose interest. So it's that's really important, and we'll see how that goes. It might not do anything, but it's worth trying. So yeah, we're constantly trying new stuff like that just to see how it goes. And sometimes it sells, sometimes it doesn't.
Now, and with those customers, are most people just sort of like, no, like I'm going to stick to what I know. I'm going to stick to what I like. Or do people seem eager to like, well, I'll give it a try. I've never had it before. Let's buy a head of it or a bunch of it this week and just see, like, or do you really have to like twist people's arms, or just have those 5 or 6 customers that happen to be a little strange and they love fennel or they love bok choy?
Yeah, so we'll try a few different tactics. So yeah, sometimes like, we had a lot of I wanted to test the market because we'll grow it next year, delicata squash.
Oh yeah.
Um and so I bought in quite a bit of that, and kind of some people knew it, some people didn't. But what we tended to do was actually just throw one in and just say, here, give that a try, and not charge them for it. And then pretty much everyone we did that to came back and bought another one. So there's some stuff that I know, like the likes of fennel and stuff. I know that that's a specific flavor that isn't going to be universally liked. But with something like delicata squash, I know that it's a squash that tastes similar to corn. Like people are going to love that. So so I know if I throw that in, that's it's a good business choice. You're going to sell loads of it then. So that's what we did. But yeah, it's hard. Everyone's different, I suppose. But because it's such a small market and it's a country market, like we rely on a small amount of people spending quite a decent amount of money with us, doing their weekly kind of veg shop with us. So, I know that if I grow too much of something, like it's not like we have lots of people walking past our stall that somebody's going to stop and just buy that or anything like that. So, the risks have to be kind of calculated in that sense.
Yeah, and I know a big strategy that we employ with crops, in my experience, they're not particularly unique. Most everybody else at the market has already been selling these, like, and if the customer is going around from, you know, stall to stall, they're probably seeing it. But for whatever reason, if there's an item that I feel like takes a little bit of explaining, or
Mm.
there's a little bit of apprehension, And if it's good raw, I'll always chop some up or have a dish. The old adage, let them try it and they'll buy it. And I mean, that has proven itself to be exceptionally true. Salad turnips is a great example. There's 7 of us growers. Every 6 out of us will all have salad turnips, have heaps of them, big giant mountains of beautiful white bulbs. And, we'll have them too. And it's like, they're just not selling. And I kind of thought like, well, maybe it's just because everybody's got them, the market's saturated. And, and then I'm like, well, I've got a bunch of extra ones. Let's just dice a couple of them up, throw them on a plate, put them in front of it, let people try it. And the amount of people that said, I've never had this before and it's delicious. And then they grab a bunch or they grab 2 bunches, or they say, I've seen this. I know everybody has it, but I never tried it. Whether it's because conceptually they're like, it's a turnip, you cook it the way grandma used to cook it, where she boils the snot out of it and, you just have it, or you just roast it or whatever, that allowing people to experience it with like 0 risk, like you said, or, just throwing a bunch in the thing. As we did a similar thing with our winter storage radishes, like our watermelon radish and our, Spanish black radish, that, our sales have like doubled of those things since we've started offering those things. There's a couple of weeks where, just I got busy getting the table set up. We're doing stuff, putting out, prices right up until the market opens, and then you just get busy and you're like, oh crud, I forgot to dice up that watermelon radish and put it on the plate, and realized that we had sold almost none all morning long, the first 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then I put it out, and then, we do, not a full day's worth of sales of what I anticipated, but about just over half. And so, with those certain things, because I think about something like a winter radish, I would imagine cool soils, lower daylight hours would probably really excel. If you're doing things like rutabaga, turnips and stuff like that, a watermelon radish, a daikon would probably be perfect for your context. And sometimes you just got to let people try it. Like, this one's a little bit sweeter. You can roast it and you can do it more like you would a traditional roasted root veg, but it's also really wonderful eaten as this just like fresh thing. And and we've seen a dramatic uptick in the sales of those kind of slightly off kilter items that are not your collards, kale, broccoli, tomatoes, cucumbers.
Yeah, and our market is kind of, it's getting that way this year much more than last year. So like the difference this year has been, like last year I couldn't sell any herbs. I really struggled to sell herbs. Anything that was slightly off center was a very difficult sell. What happened towards the end of last year was that there was a pub directly across from the market, and a local baker took over that pub on a Friday and Saturday morning. So he's doing sourdough bread where the wheat is grown, milled, and baked within a very close distance. So he calls it the Carlow loaf, and it's absolutely incredible quality. He does really amazing pastries and stuff like that as well, and coffee obviously. So that's like, there's no cafes in the village or anything like that. So that's kind of the one place that people now flock to. But what has also happened is he's got such a good name all over the country that people travel from everywhere to it. And it's brought a lot more people in. And what we noticed this year, almost too late to do anything about it, was the interesting stuff was selling much better this year. So like salad, greens this year were number 4 on the list. Last year they were number 12 on the list.
That's a big
we
improvement.
sold, yeah, we sold tons more greens. People coming in looking for fresh salads. Like, we scaled back our salad growing last winter because I couldn't sell it. Um, whereas this year it really kind of took off. So that has helped, enormously. And, herbs were much bigger this year. The likes of fennel, radicchio and stuff like that, they're never going to be huge sellers for us, but they now move. Whereas like up until last year, I was bringing them to market. I was growing them because I like to eat them. And then I was bringing them to market because I had too many of them. It wasn't necessarily a choice to bring them in. So, yeah, I suppose Irish people we'd probably be known for being quite conservative eaters and stuff. But I think we're getting there.
Hey there. Want to spend less time pulling weeds? Check out Soil Shield by Modern Grower. It's the pre-cut landscape fabric solution to help you drastically reduce weed pressure. Just roll it out, staple it down, and plant. Then let it do the work for you. Say goodbye to endless weeding and hello to more free time. Plus, it's high quality, durable, and will last for years, saving you time and money in the long run. It's available in a variety of row and hole spacings to accommodate all the crops that vegetable farmers grow. Learn more about Soil Shield landscape fabric at shop.moderngrower.co or using the link below.